Everything you learned in history class was a lie. Well, maybe not everything, but they skipped the best parts. Introducing Stupiracy, where stupidity meets conspiracy. Ever heard of the Olympic marathon that nearly killed its runners? Or the time a pope put another pope's corpse on trial? Join me, Scott Rizzuto, and Tim McKernan as we uncover the most outrageous historical moments and mind-blowing conspiracies you won't believe actually happened. Tune into Stupiracy for your weekly dose of historical absurdity. Available wherever you get your podcasts. Remember, history is dumb, but laughing at it is smart.
I want to hear your theory.
Well, first I got to ask you. Oh, here's my theory. Okay, I'll get to it. Reavers went up to see the alleged headwaters of the Mississippi, right?
Right. Itasca State Park.
Alaska, Itasca State Park. Little creek. It's like the creek that feeds Badger Lake down in our hunting slough, right?
Yep.
This is supposed to be where it all starts, huh? Mm-hmm. So if that thing dried up, there would be no Mississippi River? Is that what you're telling me? That New Orleans would be sitting down there just with that,
waiting for something to trickle.
There'd be a gulf down there, but there wouldn't be any big river running through town. Is that what you're telling me here? I don't buy it.
He's looking at the trickle. You can
I
see
don't
it.
buy it where this is where it all starts, man.
Well, they got to start someplace.
Yeah, listen. If the Ohio hit someplace, you'd still have a river. I don't buy it. I think all you people are being taken when you go up there to stand and look at it and say, wow, this is where the Mississippi starts.
Well, it's fed by the lake.
Why doesn't it run out of water? That's where I'm starting to agree with Pat.
That's right.
I think.
No, but,
Nobody won me over.
This thing goes into the lake, right?
Oh, the lake feeds that creek. Not a crick, it's a creek.
Okay.
And that becomes the river.
Yes. So let's say that lake gets like White Bear down to about nothing.
Yeah,
right?
White Bear's back to full
I know.
health. Yeah,
And then we have a dry year like we had this year, right?
Yeah.
And all of a sudden the creek is dry. There's no Mississippi.
Well, we follow a guy on the show named Eric Mischie.
Yes.
Who is raising money for Spare Key, a charitable organization, and his journey down the Mississippi on a lousy pontoon boat is called Hope on the River. And just last week, he said he was nearing Memphis and the rivers are at historic lows.
Okay, but here's the question.
So there's what happens.
Did he start with the pontoon boat up there in Itasca then?
No, St. Paul.
Yeah, he started in St. Paul.
Yeah, well, he's fudging. That's probably where when the Minnesota hits the something, that's when it starts. I
So
don't
in
buy
fact,
the whole thing.
right where you're seeing Pat on the screen behind you, the headwaters
If
there.
this thing was dry, right here,
Yeah.
if this was dry, there'd be
He has his finger
What's
on
he
the
pointing
monitor.
there'd be
to?
no.
What's he pointing to?
If
The
that
lake?
lake got real low and the first creek bed was dry, there'd be no Mississippi.
That's right.
That's right. Okay.
All right, that's your story.
I accept that.
At the main headquarters, before you walk to this area, there's the whole diagram of from Lake Itasca all the way down to New Orleans. It's actually pretty cool, but you do see how many different rivers fuel the Mississippi.
Yes,
that add to it.
I accept that.
But
Okay.
what's funny, Pat, so I told this to Rookie off the air. We walked across these little rocks to get to the other side, saying, hey, we crossed it. But then you go down about 15 yards this way, and you can come back over this giant beam that's about 20 feet long. Mm-hmm. And what was your buddy's name that got on the airplane? That was
Gary Selberg.
So there was a guy that resembled
Gary
Gary
Selberg?
that was behind us, and I thought, that thing's going to be working overtime trying to cross that bad boy.
I will say this about water.
All right.
Here we go.
It's interesting.
Well, all right.
There you go. I'm going to write that
I'm
down.
going to write that down.
it works hard to go places.
Yes,
You know,
it does.
It does. It doesn't just want to stay where it is. It wants to. It's kind of like when it gets in your house. You know, it wants to go places. It says, okay, I'm just sitting there in this little pot, but I think I want to go over there. It's a very interesting
This is
thing.
on par with your theory of the beetle. Was it the beetle that didn't evolve?
No, the tick.
The tick.
The tick. Yeah.
No ambition.
No ambition.
No ambition.
Water
Plus-
has ambition.
Plus, as I said about the tick, what else do you want out of life?
Right.
You just, they can't see you. You can jump on stuff. They can't see you, and then you can just suck blood all day. It's fantastic. It's a great life.
Great life.
And then somebody finds it and they burn you to death. That's bad. But
That is bad.
but you're not in for a long life anyway. I wonder how ticks. How do they procreate? I wonder.
You can get it done.
Carefully.
Boy, it's got to be hard work, doesn't it? God
Well, I would
almighty.
imagine
A little
they're
splinter. A little splinter.
Let's find out.
they're
here.
probably egg layers, aren't they?
Yeah, I guess
maybe
it must
that's
be
it,
egg
yeah.
layers. Yeah.
How do ticks procreate?
Yeah,
I don't
they gotta
do
be
we
egg
really want to
layers.
know?
No, let's not.
Okay. Now that we're in,
Did
in
you
for a
make
penny, in
it
for
to
a
the
pound.
end of the National Football League Sunday night telecast last evening?
Yes.
That was a hell of a football game.
I thought the Vikes played pretty well.
Well, that's the best they got. They
Yeah.
played crazy. And when they fell behind 21-13 by giving up 3 touchdowns in 2 minutes, there isn't a person in the Twin Cities who wasn't convinced they were going to get beat 42-13.
Oh, that's exactly
and
what I said.
Yet they had 2 long touchdown drives, and now everybody wants to say they're a bunch of chokers. They were ballsy.
Yep.
They
Ballsy.
were
Remember that?
ballsy last
Ballsy.
night.
Yes, they were.
Back in the old days when we were ballsy on,
right. We were
on
ballsy.
1500 ESPN, they were ballsy, and then the best quarterback in the world made a great play against them.
Wow,
So
was
what
that
the
a throw
hell?
at the end?
You know?
Holy cow.
And right before that, the long one where the guy, leaped over. Now, you were telling me that it's been reported that Cameron Dantzler, the rookie corner, was supposed to be following Metcalf around, so they could have double teamed him then.
Your colleague at the Star Tribune, Ben Gessling, tweeted out a link with a caption of Harrison Smith mouthing to Cam, "Cover your bleeping guy, Cam." And so that's
Okay, all right. So anyway, yeah, it was a heck of a game, and they had the ball twice as often as Seattle did. They ran almost twice as many plays.
And my guy Mahomes suffered an embarrassingly
Yeah,
big
they
loss.
did not look good, did they? Their defense looked terrible.
I think the Raiders might be a decent club, though.
Yeah, but they put up 40. Now you can't. You can no longer say, well, they put up 40 on the road because I think Kansas City has 12,000 or 13,000 in there.
I'm not
But,
sure.
Somebody told me they were watching a Texas A&M game and that stadium was jammed.
Really?
I guess Texas, we just don't care anymore. The hell with it. We're just letting her go.
I thought there were a lot of people in there. There
Yeah.
were a lot. I don't know how they chose who gets to go in and who doesn't, but when they would do the cutaway shots, I'm like, I can't believe there's that many people in there. Viking fans are going to be furious, Pat, at the Green Bay
No,
game.
because the Green Bay has announced because of a big spike in
in
virus
Wisconsin.
in Brown County, they will not have
Oh,
fans
okay.
this season.
Okay.
At Lambeau, they will not have fans.
Because the Vikings keep doing it on a per game basis, right? Isn't that how they're? Because they haven't announced for the whole year yet.
Well,
I don't
they
think.
haven't announced whether they're going to let anybody in there. But the way things are going, I don't think they'll let anybody in there this week, will they? Against
No, I
Atlanta?
don't think so.
Well,
Either.
I'll ask the question I always ask. If 2 weeks from now you let them in, what changed between now and 2 weeks from now?
Not a damn thing, probably.
Okay, yeah.
I mean, it can't get. It doesn't appear that what I find interesting is they all told us about the fall surge that would be coming, right? Mm-hmm. All summer. Oh, wait till the fall surge. Now there's a little bit of a fall surge, and we're all surprised. Why? It was you told us it was coming, right?
Right. We knew there was going to be a spike of some sort.
So anywho,
I got a hockey question.
I'm ready.
What's the deal with getting rid of Dubnyk in bringing in this Cam, whatever his name is.
They like him better than Duber. Apparently, they must feel he's
It
more
seems like tit for
consistent.
tat for me.
Yeah, when you look at their track records, it seems pretty similar. I don't think they got him that much cheaper either because they have to. I guess they get a little cap relief. He's a little cheaper on the cap, but they have to give
San
Jose some money.
I think
But
they're splitting it. They're paying half.
But maybe that doesn't count against their cap. I don't know because they're maybe if you give them the money, they still take up the whole cap.
you know what we've learned
Yeah.
about Billy Guerin, what he's willing to do to this roster? Tweaks.
He's a mad tweaker compared to Fenton started, but he's how about Miko?
Signing with the Jackets.
Signed
I
with,
missed that.
Signed with the Jackets, and then he was going to be the first Wild member to have his jersey retired. But Judd pointed this out to me. He kind of took a shot at our boy, saying, "I wanted to go somewhere where I had a chance to make a playoff run."
Yeah, I saw that.
Wow.
Yeah, so then there you go. You're not getting up there with number one, the
Right.
fans.
Right.
But wait a minute now. Could we still give Miko the C if he's still in the league? Can we give it to him even though he's with another team? Because remember, that was the big controversy that we don't.
Whether he should have the C or
whether
not.
that he should be the captain or not. That was always on people's minds.
The hockey fans really worry about the C.
Yeah, they do.
Which means that you can talk to the ref, right? Isn't
Right,
that,
right,
isn't that
yep,
what the great
right,
duty of the
right,
C is, to
right.
talk to the ref?
Yeah.
When Bobby Clark was a captain in the C, that meant you were the guy that was supposed to go out and hit the guy, slash the guy with a stick on the ankle. But
Right.
they don't do it that way anymore. So.
Speaking of that, did the Lightnings and the Lakers, are they going to have parades? How are we going to do this?
The Lightning had a gathering, and social distancing norms were. Did you see outside
Slightly
Staples
overlooked.
Center last night? Yes. We
A little
some-
violence, Pat.
and we had some social distance norms that were not followed there too. So, 17 titles the Lakers have, but I think they're counting ours.
Oh, they are.
They're counting our 5.
Yep.
We had 5.
Oh, they're counting the Minneapolis Lakers?
Yeah, see, they got
Okay.
the 5. But I did a stat on them a while back that they left in 1960, so their first season was 60-61. And in 51 years since they'd been gone, they'd been in the NBA Finals 25 times. Out of 51. You think we would have had that dynasty? You think Kareem would have said, "Get me out of Milwaukee. I want to go to Minneapolis"? I don't think so. Do you?
No.
I think when Wilt left Philly, I don't think he would have said, "I want to go to Minneapolis" either. I just don't think we would have had this.
You think there was an attraction to this
I
Southern
think
California
they had a
area?
bigger allure than we do out there. That could be it. But
Now, when will the NBA start a new season?
they will be after January 1st. The NHL is shooting for January 1st. The guy from Silver has talked like that's probably premature. That's early because they're not
Would
having
they-
the draft till next month, right?
Would they play a full schedule? What's hockey? 82
Hockey's
games?
thinks they're going to start January 1st and play a full schedule. They're nuts.
That's crazy. You're going to
Yes.
be having a Stanley Cup again in September.
Yes, yeah. Sometimes you got to stop playing catch. Sometimes you got to take the hit, right?
Yes.
Right.
And stop, and you should, even if you give them a 60-game schedule and have the regular season end in April, you're still going to be killing
Well,
them
and plus the other thing, the whole reason that they restarted both hockey and basketball was because of
for
TV.
the playoffs. Yeah,
And
everybody had terrible ratings.
And here's what's going to happen. Once the World Series is done in 2 weeks, there's going to be no other sports but football.
Yes, that's right. And here's the other thing. By pushing this back, and pushing it back, hockey ratings were terrible. NBA ratings were terrible. Everybody's having terrible ratings. So,
Well, that's because I'm not watching sports anymore
that's
because
right,
of
you're
those
not.
political statements that they're making, Pat.
Oh, it's getting. It's so frustrating.
But
Just-
you're
I
still
thought it was
watching.
diminishing. I thought those statements were being diminished. Although Kaepernick, I see now, is campaigning to just have no
Police,
no
yeah.
judicial system at all, and no prisons and
No,
no police.
I think Reavers was being funny.
yeah, I was being
I
sarcastic.
think so.
no, I
the
got it.
idea,
I got it.
the idea
I
that
missed on that.
the idea that a
jumped
bunch
right
of
into it.
65-year-old white guys up in Crookston didn't watch the game last night, and who are they lying to? You were watching that.
Pat, I don't know if you
Viking
saw
game.
this, but the Onion had this breaking news item that the NFL had declared bankruptcy because Gary from Ohio says he's never watching anymore.
Yeah, right. Although it is going to be interesting because they're negotiating new TV deals. The NBA's negotiating new TV deals, and how can you, if you're a network, make them
Can you write that check?
make them an offer now when you don't know
Right.
where the hell? We have no idea what the sports world's going to look like when this thing's all over.
No.
But there's going to be a lot less money.
There's another even bigger problem, Pat.
What?
We don't know when this is going to be over.
Yeah, that is but it's not that big a deal. I heard from a fellow of considerable authority. So
Well, President Biden said in his ad that once we get control of the virus, we can fix the economy. That's his big ad that he's running right now.
Joe had ads last night on the Viking game. Why didn't somebody tell him to speak up? The volume of those
levels?
political ads were like. I was easier to understand the other day when I called in and you guys were laughing. Somebody turned the volume up on the ads.
The levels were too low?
They had these 15-second ads, and they must have ran it 6 times during a Viking game. And you could, what was that, Joe? Come on, speak up.
The Trumper's not having any ads around here. He's
He gave
withdrawn
up.
them.
He gave up.
Well, he's low on cash, apparently.
How can he be low on cash? He uses his own. He's got an unlimited supply.
Well, we don't know that because he didn't release his tax forms. What's going on?
Well, you're not offended by the fact that he promised us 4 years ago he was going to do that? Brooke?
I'm never offended by anybody else.
Hey, Ski Cat, did you
Yes.
break 90 when you played Friday?
Yeah, we were having a little fun with you there, Joe. We were kind of like that, as Rook said, that bottle of that jug of Templeton Rye. When you're not in here, we come up with
Theater of the mind.
theater.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
I would have. I just automatically assumed you were playing.
Yeah.
Well, Long got a tea time, and Roe was going to play. And
He sold it.
Well,
what he did.
actually, I told you I wasn't playing, but that was during the gobbledygook portion, so you couldn't understand it. And I just kept rolling, and I thought you guys were laughing because what I was saying was so funny, not because
No.
it sounded like I was in Scotland.
I think it
sounds-
adds to the
Why
bit.
is that? Because I then talked to Judd and Phil, and they hear me fine.
I have no
happened?
idea.
Well, that's
What
what
happens?
we wanted to ask you.
What happened?
find
I
any
think
wrong
I'm
with
going to
those?
get a burner. I mean, if it's good enough for the drug dealers to communicate, it should be good enough for me, right?
That's right.
Make a few
Done with
calls
it.
every once in a
Bang,
while,
it's gone.
right? I wonder if the burner's got the mic right in front of you instead of hidden someplace.
Well, you apparently you thought your the mic on your phone was right by your chin, right, not by your mouth. And you kept talking into
Well,
your chin.
I'm not going to chew on the damn thing. Why can't you hold it 4 inches away from your face and have people hear you?
Hey, how you doing there? I
Yes,
don't know. I don't know.
It's an 11 too. It's not like an old outdated model.
Well, that should give you sound quality.
yeah, well,
sound.
it sucks.
So is Apple coming out with another new phone today?
Oh hell yes! Sometime here.
what's this
pretty
one
soon.
do?
Oh, I don't know. This
Text
one,
Gabe.
this one maybe gives you a shower or some damn thing. I don't know what it does.
And I think it has a camera that can take a picture of something 7 miles away. What good is that? Why do I need that?
You wore green because you thought you could hide.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
7 miles away. How would you even know what you were taking a picture of?
I saw the last one they put out, which must have been the 11X or something. And they had about 3 different
Yeah, there's 3 cameras on that one.
I don't want 3 cameras.
You don't want 3
I don't want
cameras?
3 cameras. I got a hard enough time with 1 camera. I
Which
don't
one
want
do I
3.
look at?
Yeah, I don't know.
Jeez.
Which one am I taking a picture with here? You know.
Do you know that you can you can make those black and white, those pictures that you take
Oh
with your
yeah.
phone?
Oh yeah.
Hello.
I didn't
Oh,
know
then get
that.
get a little more artsy then.
Yeah,
That's a
absolutely.
good idea.
Well, Joe fashions himself as a former photographer.
I'm a great photographer.
Here's my problem. When I take them horizontally, and then I try to like tweet them or something,
Yeah.
I can't turn them around.
Yeah.
I can't get them to. There's something I don't
The
know what
box
to
to
press.
make 'em
I can. Yeah, I can.
flip on
I
its
don't know
side?
how to get them to turn around
I
in the
can't
right
help you.
direction.
Like
What do I do then?
like if you were going to take a picture of the headwater saying, if this bleeper dries up.
but it would be sideways when I send it out. I want to know how to flip it around.
Usually it just does it automatically if you post it from your gallery right to the social media platform.
That's very interesting.
Yes.
Yeah.
How about those Tampa Bay Rays?
And alive, are they something?
Yeah.
Last night, Joe, their starting pitcher, their ace, he stunk. And he only gave up 1 run, but he was all over the place, throwing incredible numbers of pitches. And then after that, they went to this John Curtis, former Twin, who pitched 4 times for the Twins and was so terrible they let him go. And then a guy, a sideballing right-hander who's kicked around, Thompson. And then Aaron Loop, who was brutal, and they'd leave with the bases loaded, and somebody hits into a double play, and then they ended up winning a 2-1. Joe, you know how long that 2-1 ball game took?
338?
350.
350.
Wow.
350. The grand old game's got itself a serious problem now, but I think the ads, because of lower TV ratings and all this stuff, I think the break between innings is even longer.
You know what? I'm glad you mentioned that
I
because
think
I
it's like
noticed that
6
the other night
minutes.
too.
It's endless.
Yeah.
Pat, I experienced our shared dismay. Yesterday I went to a youth game, and it was all I could do to not say to the ump, they had one ump, and he's out at second base looking in, calling the balls and strikes. And he missed a few.
Yeah.
And but then every half inning, he walks back to the backstop.
Oh, has to get a drink of water.
Has to get a sip of water from his cooler. And
Yeah,
then
right.
and
Gotta
he
be-
takes his time wandering back to second base.
And the kids are all over there talking. And,
Yeah. And the
get in the
pitcher's
batter's box. Let's
go here.
A minute max.
Yep.
It should
Drives
take a
me
minute.
crazy.
And by the way, don't walk in from right field, fatty. Run.
Hustle in, hustle out.
Yes.
Let's go.
Right.
You know what it's doing, Pat? It's giving the kids a lack of urgency.
Yes.
The kids are becoming almost too cavalier about it. Oh, I'll take my time getting out there.
Yeah.
And this. Hey, get out there
And go.
and hit the damn ball and run and just keep moving here. Let's keep moving.
I put 100 in the grandson's just turned 10's birthday card the other day. And my message of love was, Dear Luke, swing the bat,
Yep.
shoot the puck.
Yep.
We love you, Grandpa Patrick.
Done.
Yes. Don't stand there looking for a walk, swing the bat. And when you're, I don't mind a kid making a pass, but when you shoot the puck, let's go. I didn't
Good
come here.
things happen.
I didn't
Good
come
things
here to
happen.
watch that other guy shoot the puck. I came here to watch you shoot the puck. Let's go.
I saw my youth get a nice hit yesterday.
Oh,
so
that's
it's worth
good.
the trip. Yeah.
That's good. Well, I was last time I went to see Luke and his team. I couldn't. I stayed for the start of the second game, and he took strike 3, so I left.
Yeah.
Didn't
In a
want to
huff.
didn't want to say anything inappropriate, and then the next time up, he got a double. I missed it. I had no faith in him.
No, he had no faith.
I had no faith in him. So anyway, but we still got to work on that catching the ball.
Yeah.
We still got to work on that.
That's usually the last thing
We
to
got to
come
work
around,
on that
yeah.
play and catch. They hit a ball to the shortstop. He throws it to first, and the first baseman actually catches it. That's what
what
I
you
like.
wanna see?
That's what I like about the game.
One of the
That's
things,
a big graduation when you get to that point.
Yes.
One of the things I'm running into, though, is the little guy, he gets upset if you don't throw it exactly to where his glove is. If he's got to move the glove, that's when he gets a little fired up.
Okay. Oh,
Dad, you know how to throw it to my glove. Well, bud, sometimes you got to
Well,
move
kid,
it.
sometimes you got to move your hand, kid.
Yeah. So, well. Hey, speaking of baseball, let's put in a plug for the GoFundMe page for the. Tell us about that, Reaver, for the Hartman. Randy Hartman.
Yes. Let me pull up that tweet.
This is a bad story, Joe. The Hartman family from Arlington, a great baseball family. Dave was on the state board for 100 years, really good player. Mike was the best player of the crew. And Randy played at the U, right?
Yes.
And was a good player. 51 years old, and he suddenly has come up with a brain ailment that only 1,000 people in the world have, apparently.
On October 7th, 2020, Brian Hartman was diagnosed. Brian Hartman was diagnosed with, I'm going to butcher this, but Creutzfeldt-Jakob disease, CJD. It's a brain disorder that causes early onset dementia. It's extremely rare, and only 1,000 people get it each year. No. It's a fatal disease, and there is no cure or treatment. Brian has currently been given months to live. He is staying at St. Mary's Hospital at Rochester until future plans are made. Brian is losing some of his memory, and his cognitive skills are not to their extent. They have started a GoFundMe page, which we'll use for Brian's medical needs, including his future living arrangements, potential hospice or assisted living. There are also a lot of moving pieces that they are trying to figure out, including bills, payments, etc. So,
how do we find that?
I will post this to the Sports Talk link, and I'll also put this on the Garage Logic Facebook page as well.
Yeah, he's the youngest, I believe, and Dave is the oldest, and they're separated by about 20 years. So they were all good athletes, the boys and the girls, and it's like those good country families. They were having kids for a long time there.
Wow. Baseball in general is taking a hit lately. We're losing.
Oh man,
we're losing people, and
Joe
you got
Morgan,
the list there. Joe Morgan today, huh?
Joe Morgan today, 77.
He's the one with the elbow flap.
Yep. That's I use that in golf. I stole that for my golf for a while. The chicken wing, Joe Morgan. He hit better line drives than I did with it, though. But today, Joe Morgan, 77.
Do we know why?
He had what the hell was it? Some nerve disease that he'd had for quite some time, I guess. And recently Bob Gibson, I think, was the most recent before him. Oh, Whitey Ford yesterday. Whitey was 91.
Yep.
And then Tom Seaver, Al Kaline, and Lou Brock, all in the 6 weeks maybe? I think Kaline was the first.
All Hall of Famers.
Yeah, all Hall of Famers. Those 6 guys, all Hall of Famers. And it's ranging in age from Morgan 77 to of course Kaline was in his late 80s, and Whitey 91.
You know what's interesting is Whitey was Mickey Mantle's running mate.
Yes, he was.
Mickey dies at 63.
Yes.
Whitey makes it to 91. I don't know. Whitey must have done something right, and Mickey must have done something wrong when they were running.
Well, when Billy and Mickey were going to the Copacabana and getting in fights and doing stuff like that, Whitey was always with them, but I don't think he was engaged in the fisticuffs. I think you never heard about Whitey being in a barroom brawl like Mick, and I don't know who else was in that crew. Johnny Blanchard, however, you remember the great Johnny Blanchard, right?
Oh, yeah.
The left-handed hitter.
From here.
Minneapolis Central kid. Owned the one of the great guys ever. Owned the off-sale liquor place out in Golden Valley for years. But he played at Southview. And hell of a golfer, really good golfer. And he got Johnny was alcoholic, and I think he would admit that. But he got sober, shortly after his career sometime. And but I played golf with him a few times, got to know him real well. And he could tell some stories about that collection of Yanks. There was they were a rowdy group, to say the least. And Johnny was a young guy when he kind of joined them and jumped right in there with them. But he was their backup catcher behind Yogi and then Elson Howard there for a while. But they'd put him out in left field every once in a while, and he'd get about half as many at bats as everybody else, and hit about 18 home runs every year. He was really a good guy, Johnny.
He and I think my late uncle was drafted by the Yankees, along with Blanchard.
What was that name?
Was there a draft then in the 50s? In
No,
1950?
they signed him though.
Just signed him, yeah.
Yeah, the Yankees had a scout in the Minnesota would sign the guy. Who was your late uncle who got
Paul
signed?
McHale. Paul
Oh,
McHale.
Paul got signed too.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, he didn't. He went in a different career direction.
Oh, okay. But
Working in the bar business.
Oh,
Morgan,
I met Paul. He was a
yeah, you
character.
knew Paul.
He was a character.
Morgan died from a nerve condition, a form of polyneuropathy.
Huh.
I
Boy.
37.
Pat, I learned one thing though today, Joe. I didn't realize that Pat had him as his all-time second baseman.
Joe Morgan is he's my all-time second baseman. I got him ahead of Rogers Hornsby, who I never had the privilege to see play. And plus, I don't see those 19 teens guys in 1920s as the same as these guys. But Joe Morgan was fantastic. And for a 5'8", probably the greatest short player in history.
Yeah.
5'7", 5'8", something like
was
that.
his whole career with Cincinnati?
No, he was traded. He broke in with the Houston Colt 45s, I believe, and was acquired by the Reds in a trade for Lee May, who was a power-hitting first baseman. But the Reds also had Tony Perez, and they were in pretty good shape. And I think they had Tony play left field for a year or something, and then they wanted to move Tony to first base, and so they traded Lee May, and they got Joe Morgan in return. And we were talking about that team earlier today. They got your Johnny Bench, who's probably the greatest catcher ever. They got Morgan. They got Pete Rose, who isn't in the Hall of Fame but should be.
Yep.
And who's our fourth Hall of Famer? Give him to me.
Was it Perez?
Yeah, Tony Perez.
Yeah.
Tony Perez. They had three Hall of Famers plus Pete Rose, who obviously is a Hall of Famer if he hadn't made a bet or two. So.
Was Ken Griffey Sr. close ever?
No.
Was he ever on the ballot?
He was a good player, but he wasn't a Hall of Fame type of player. And he was, I think he was the left fielder before Foster came in, if I'm not mistaken. So
Well, rest in peace, Joe Morgan Freeman.
yeah.
No.
Reavers,
No,
play
Joe.
that. Play that.
The Sunday Night
Johnny
Baseball
Miller clip you played earlier today. Johnny Miller and Morgan did the Sunday night game for like 20 years.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And for a lot
Fantastic.
of us that only got to watch Twins games, it was our glimpse into seeing
Yes.
the Dodgers play whoever on a
And
Sunday night.
the way that John was able to poke him just a little bit,
Yep.
and they had fun in the booth, those guys, and it wasn't the Don Meredith, Howard Cosell
Forced, kind of.
Yeah, it wasn't like this is part of the shtick. This wasn't a shtick for them. It was just, hey, we're watching a ball game. It's going to take 3 hours, and we're going to have some fun, But did you ever hear this one, Joe?
I'm waiting.
And we're ready.
Now the 1-0 pitch. Swinging. There's a high drive. Deep into left center field. It's on its way. Adios! Pelota! A grand slam for Buster Posey's good friend, Hunter Pence.
What?
They thought Buster Posey hit it. And then he looked out on the bases and saw that Hunter Pence was running around the bases. So just like that, he says, for Buster Posey's good friend, Hunter Pence. Maybe the greatest catch in the history. John
Do it
Miller.
again. Let me hear. Now that I know what's going to happen, do it
Now the
again.
1-0 pitch. Swinging. There's a high drive. Deep into left center field. It's on its way. Adios! Pelota! A grand slam for Buster Posey's good friend, Hunter Pence.
That is a recovery. That's a recovery.
That is fantastic.
John Miller he's a great guy. I think he's still doing radio down there.
And you know what? I actually, as I was playing that, I found another great clip too, in that same vein of that on-air pivot.
Yeah.
Here's the pitch. Booth blaring in. Wide. I'm sorry, inside.
Inside,
Inside,
sure.
ball.
Yep.
No,
He called it a strike.
Call
He
that a
did?
strike.
Didn't he? What's he raising his hand for? It looked like a strike to me. 1-1.
Yeah.
This is not as easy as you think it is when you listen to Gordo all summer long.
Well, he's a vet.
I think they should have had us do one game a year.
Absolutely.
I would listen to
The
it.
whole game.
I think it would have went through the roof.
It would have been a ratings
It
bonanza.
would have been, you know.
And the count rides along.
give give us whatever, you know, give Gordo a much needed day off. The rest of the crew, and we would have had
Danny
it.
Glad, we got you,
In fact,
Danny.
didn't Joe describe one of the counts as 2 and 3?
I think we
Probably did.
I don't know, but we got fired before I had a chance to do my inning.
I know, they
was
let us
supposed
go.
to be the play-by-play. They came in. Somebody, I don't know, it was a producer who was. We were supposed to do 2 innings, and suddenly say, John Gordo comes in. Well, thank you guys.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
That was interesting. We got the, you know, and goodbye to our good friends, Joe Suchere and
And
Patrick
guys,
Racy.
we're not going to need you for that
Yes,
second inning.
yes.
Okay?
Can't take
We're,
enough of the time.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, we know you have other things to do.
We don't want to keep you.
Hell, I think they flew you down to Florida just to do the
Yeah,
play-by-play, right?
Yep,
And,
yep.
Oh my God.
yeah, that didn't.
I gave you my best effort, too.
You know, when you don't have enough class for an exhibition game, you know, when they don't feel that you're holding up their standards for an exhibition game, you're in trouble, right?
That's right. That's
Because
right.
there are no standards for the exhibition game. Anybody who wanders by the booth, they'll put on it for an inning, you know. So,
Yep.
oh well, what the hell? We tried.
Speaking of that, are they still planning on having spring training as scheduled for baseball?
February 29th, first game. They're starting the 18th to the 19th. They're saying so, but who knows?
Sure.
We're gonna have a vaccine by the end of the year, aren't we?
I think November 4th we'll have a vaccine. That's what somebody was saying.
That's what everybody's saying. What that wouldn't win the election for
No,
me.
I'm saying the day after we decide who's the president, that's when the
Yeah.
vaccine will magically surface.
Oh, I didn't even look at it. It was in here the whole time.
I think he and Fauci are at the end of the rope here because Fauci's exposing that the ad they're running with him lauding Don is actually taken completely out of context.
The guy spent 50 years of his life purposely avoiding politics, and now he's a centerpiece of an ad for the Trump.
Even though it was not Trumper he was lauding, it was some other people. So
Well, speaking of that, I don't know if you guys saw this, but our president had a message for the Lakers
Oh, okay.
that after
Did
they
not
won
know
the
this.
championship late yesterday.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't know if you guys have heard this or not.
No.
Okay, strong breath. Hello, this is your president, in case you didn't know. I am the president, and the drugs are working very powerfully. And the breath, I've never breathed more excuse me, just a little presidential powerful breath. Sometimes my own lungs aren't ready for how powerfully I breathe. It's sort of a great gift. I have a great gift, but I'm very excited to invite the Los Angeles Lakers to the White House to celebrate their championship. They won a title. Title, meaning championship, not title like the Jay-Z Beyonce streaming, sort of the black iTunes thing that they do. Not that. We don't like that. But the title, meaning the championship. We're inviting the Los Angeles Lakers, Alex Caruso, okay?
yeah.
Without question, I think a powerful player on the team. And definitely my favorite member of the team. In fact, no other Lakers are involved or invited. We're not involving any nasty Lakers or any Lakers that, we don't want coming into the suburbs. So Alex Caruso, your president, is happy to present you with an assortment of fast foods, all for yourself, okay? Because you were the pivotal part, a strong member. Those drugs, they kick in. A strong, I would say, the most strong member of the Los Angeles Lakers. So Alex Caruso, congratulations. Please bring me a jersey with 45 on it. No other Lakers are welcome. And we'll see what happens.
He's the bald white kid, right? Is he the only Caucasian on the roster?
I believe so, and I think it had. I believe so. Yes. Yeah.
That's a pretty good shtick right there to pick out Alex Caruso.
Yeah.
He's watching. The guy's obviously watching the game and saying, "Who's this kid?" By the way, he's like a bald white kid, and he can jump out of the gym. He's a great athlete.
But I love how he says, "I congratulate the Los Angeles Lakers." He's congratulating one guy.
We don't want these other ones going into the suburbs.
Yeah, right. He slipped that one.
Well, I forgot about the fast food reference. Who was that? He invited some team, and then remember
He brought a college team.
That's what it was. Was it Alabama?
LSU
Clemson?
or Alabama or Clemson. He had nothing but fast food for him.
No, that's bought himself though, right? For McDonald's,
Right.
He supposedly bought it himself. So.
He had the trays of Big Macs and
Yes,
everything.
yeah, well, everybody enjoyed it.
Oh, it was pretty funny.
How about this college football season that we're having here, Joe? So 3 weeks ago, the season starts. LSU's the defending national champion, right? Mm-hmm. And Mike Leach, the pass-happy coach who was at Texas Tech originally and then Washington State, and he gets hired at Mississippi State. And in their first game, they set an all-time Southeastern Conference record by passing for 623 yards and beat the defending national champs 36-20-something. And so, holy cow, that didn't take long for Mike Leach. This Saturday, against a mediocre Kentucky team, they got 2 points. Mm-hmm. What the hell's going on here? I think everything we're watching is like a mirage now because it doesn't. With no build up to the season, it doesn't. Very limited training camp. It doesn't have any semblance of reality. I don't think that this team can pass for 600 yards against LSU and get 2 points against Kentucky. I don't know how that happens.
And there's not really a coach that's more quotable than Mike Leach.
Big guy. He's a big trumpeter fan,
yes,
by the way.
He
He's
is.
made himself.
Yes, he is.
Yeah.
What would be your favorite? Oh, go ahead.
Which works in Mississippi State,
Yes,
I'm sure.
it does.
So.
But what was your favorite Mike Leach tirade of all of the ones that we?
My favorite thing is when a guy asks him about that he's getting married.
Yes.
The one when he's getting married and Leach gives him advice. Do you have that one?
I was trying to find it, but I found another one that I love
Okay.
too. And I believe this is when he was still at Texas Tech, and they lost a game, and he just destroyed every player on his team,
yeah.
for not paying attention.
We failed to make our coaching points and our points more compelling than their fat little girlfriends. Now, their fat little girlfriends have some obvious advantages. For one thing, their fat little girlfriends are telling them what they want to hear, which is how great you are and how easy it's going to be. There will be some people inconvenienced, and if it happens to be their fat little girlfriends, too bad.
See if you can find the one
I'm trying
about
to find
marriage.
the marriage one because I knew that one was your
some
favorite.
Some guy who's a reporter out there in Spokane or someplace says, I'm getting married or I just got engaged, and I just wonder, Mike, if you have any advice if we can find it, it would be great.
Is he the guy who locked players in a shed?
Well, that's Chris. What? No,
It was James.
Craig James's son. He supposedly locked him in a shed, and that was ended up getting him fired. Although I think they tried to come up with some excuse that.
What would be an excuse?
I believe this was in August too, in Lubbock, Texas, where it could have been a little steamy.
Yeah, a little warm.
Yeah, you probably didn't want to be in it. I don't think it was an air-conditioned shed either. But
they usually aren't.
He's the guy that, Tracy Claeys went out and became his defensive coordinator. And the first year, he was like the defensive assistant of the year or nominated for that award or something. The second year, last year, they started giving up a lot of points. And I've heard from reliable reports that Mike liked to drink his whiskey after game. Late at night he'd go home after games, and he
Have a couple
he
pours.
got a few in him about 2:30 in the morning and called Tracy at his condo out there and vilified him in a very profane manner. And Tracy then quit. So and they didn't have to pay him. So
Gotcha.
So
I found it. This was, I believe, at Pac-12 Media Day when Mike was the head coach at Washington State.
okay, this is good.
Well, it's too late to rescue you. The best wisdom that I can possibly give, wisdom I can possibly give on that subject, 9 days, and it's a little late. You should have come to me sooner. My wisdom would be, you have to stay out of the way. Now, and I wish you a very happy marriage, and I'm sure you'll have one. But I'm just telling you. When it comes to marriages, the women lose their mind. Your fiance's going to lose her mind. Your mother-in-law is going to lose her mind. Your mom is going to lose her mind. Several of your sisters and female relatives are going to lose their mind, and they're going to barrage you with constant questions. What should we wear? And then, which of course my answer was, I don't care. And then, what color should the invitations be? I don't care. What should we have for dessert? I don't care. Should we seat this way or that way? I don't care. But see, I don't care is not satisfactory at all. And you're going to get caught in a catch-22, and I'm certain that you already have. And that catch-22 is, well, I want you to be a part of this too. So what color invitations? All right, the blue ones. Well, I kind of like the tan ones. Okay, the tan ones then. Oh, you're just saying that because you want this over with. You're not even thinking about it. Which
This guy's
is
brilliant.
true. And then, what do you want for dessert? I was thinking of strawberry shortcake. Oh, okay. Yeah, strawberry shortcake would be good. Well, what about the blueberry pie? Well, I like the blueberry pie. We could have the blueberry pie. Well, I thought you said you wanted the strawberry shortcake. And it's just going to go back and forth, and they're going to play keep away from you until after you're married. So what you need to do is you need to work late hours, work late, be very nice and supportive, and but they're going to play keep away from you, and there's no answer you can give that is going to be satisfactory or correct. And if you successfully please a few of them, the others will still be, oh well, I just don't feel like he's that interested. Yeah, okay, so you need to work late, go in the back room and read a lot of books. You have to go take the groomsmen out, so you make sure that they march in just right and they know exactly, these swell outfits that you picked out or whatever, however you're doing it. And in the end, you'll wish you eloped. But nevertheless, you need to find excuses that they'll buy to be as far out of harm's way as you possibly can. And but take comfort in knowing that once the ceremony's over, that life will get progressively better from there, even though there's some adjustment.
Wow.
This is how fun would it be to cover this guy?
Oh yeah, he's great.
Well, you were openly campaigning for him to get the job here.
Yeah, before they before they hired PJ. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, they had, but the Mason has the best story. They're going to play him in the Sun Bowl, which is Gophers are going down there, and NASDAQ is the sponsor of that bowl game. I think it's something that's on NASDAQ.
Okay.
What was the name of that? Remember that bowl game when
You mean a stock or a
got
product?
Mason
or-
fired? It got
Yeah.
Micron PC Bowl, right? Micron
God.
was it Mike? No, I can't remember. Anyway,
But they're playing Texas Tech.
they're going to play Texas Tech, and to promote the Sun Bowl, Leach and Mason are brought to town, and they're going to open NASDAQ the next day, right? Mm-hmm. At 9 in the morning or 10 in the morning or whenever you open it up. And so they go out with the people from the bowl game and the people from the company for a dinner and
The Insight Bowl.
Insight Bowl. And they go out for dinner, and it's like 21 or someplace. I mean, they go to one of the great New York restaurants, and and he shows up in a T-shirt and we got a sport coat and a pair of jeans, Leach. And so they eat this great meal and spend all this money and get these fine wines. And about 10 o'clock at night, they leave it and they're going to walk back to their hotel. And as they're walking back, Leach says to the group, he says, I think I'm going to go and, go stop and look at a couple of sites. Next morning, he shows up, T-shirt, same sport coat, jeans, looks like he hasn't been to bed. And then Mace gets up and makes some little speech about the Golden Gophers. And then it's Leach's turn. And this is, 2006.
2006, yeah.
So we're still a little paranoid about things in New York. And the slogan at Texas Tech is guns up. Because they're guns up, let's go. And he yelled, well, all I got to say is guns up. And half the people in there are diving for the floor. Mason said it was unbelievable.
Oh, God.
He said he's a squirrel. And that, and then the Gophers had him killed. Texas Tech came back and won the game, and Mason got fired.
Yep.
Yeah, so because of that game. But he's a beauty.
They were up 35-7 at halftime, the Gophers were.
No.
You know where his home, his residence was, permanent residence?
No, I don't.
When he was at Washington State, which is near Spokane, Key West.
Oh, yeah.
Key West. He had a home in Key West because he and his wife had moved during a year or two when he was fired at Texas Tech, and he had nothing but money. They decided to build a spot. So, he'd go home. He'd take a 2-week break. He'd drop by in Key West from 3,000 some miles away.
Yeah, the Red Raiders, after falling behind 38-7, with 7:47 remaining in the third quarter, rallied to score 31 unanswered points to send it into overtime. Gophers kicked a field goal, but they scored a touchdown.
Some kid made some kid to tie it at the end of regulation kicks like a 56-yarder or something, right?
The eighth play of the final drive was Alex Trilkia. 52-yard field goal as time expired
to tie
send
it.
it to overtime.
Otherwise, Mace doesn't get fired. The guy doesn't make the field. Was that?
Is that where Mahomes went to school, Texas Tech?
Yep.
But Leach wasn't his coach.
No, Leach had been and run off by then.
It was Cliff Kingsbury was his coach.
Yes, but who was the guy who was the quarterback for them? Was Graham Harrell the quarterback for them?
Yes, you are correct.
All right. Okay. Well, anyway, we've reviewed Mike Leach and a lot of stuff, and you got to go, baby.
I got to go. Jamie's crying.
Oh, okay. Isn't it nice to be a dad again?
No, Pat. I'm doing that to get Reavers and Rook because they were punishing me last week by trying to sneak Van Halen song lyrics into their conversation.
Oh, okay.
Well, that technically was started by Kenny. Kenny was the resident instigator.
Okay.
It was driving me nuts.
I'd lose pretty much. That was a little too hardcore for me.
Is that Inks?
That was a little too hardcore for me. But what the hell? He only made it to 65, which isn't bad for a rock and roller.
That's right. Do you have your Mr. Money Talk copy there, Patrick?
I do.
All right, boys.
Yeah.
See you, Mayor.
Such.
See you, gang.
Ciao, Bella.
All right.
All right. Goodbye.
Time for Mr. Money Talk.
Let's do it. Let's go. Now, give me some theater of the mind here. Let's set the table.
This is Ricey. You need to see my guy, Mr. Josh Arnold, Mr. Money Talk, out there in Edina. If you're in an investment business, you want to go to a guy located in Edina. Right?
That's right.
Hell yeah.
You got to talk to Mr. Money Talk now because there's a lot of strange stuff going on in the markets. You need Josh's straight talk and not what kind of advice, Rook? Not
sugar-coated. You don't want sugar-coated.
No sugar-coated.
I want it straight up.
Straight stuff. Sit down with Josh for no cost, no obligation, 48-minute consultation.
And not a minute longer than that.
Well, if things are going good, you can probably stay a couple of more minutes there.
And he'll ask, are you comfortable?
He will review your investments, including your IRA and 401k. You can learn how you can benefit from Josh's focused approach. And boy, this crew here would need some focus.
Yes,
wouldn't
we-
it?
yes,
I
we
need
would.
some focus.
Call Josh now at 952-925-5608. 952-925-5608. Mr. Money Talk, Josh Arnold.
Bam.
Hi, this is Chris Howard, host of Plugged In with Chris Howard. It's crazy to think that a few weeks ago we were talking about whether or not Tua Tagovailoa should consider retiring after 2 concussions and worldwide debates on player safety and NFL culpability. Tua has done nothing but go back to work and currently has the Dolphins riding a 3-game win streak and 1 loss behind the division favorite Buffalo Bills. While everyone was yapping about the end of his career, Tua Tagovailoa said he'll decide when it's time. And clearly, he's not ready to hang up the cleats. Hi, this is Chris Howard from the Plugged In with Chris Howard podcast. BetOnline.net is your #1 source for betting football and the start of the new basketball season. Find all the latest player developments, team matchups, news, podcasts, and in-depth analysis on every game. BetOnline remains your continued source for all your sports wagering information with live betting, up-to-the-minute scores for the fastest and easiest way to check in on all your favorite games and events, including the MLB playoffs, the start of the NHL season, MMA, boxing, and golf. And if you love sports podcasts, you can find those at BetOnline as well. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to learn more. BetOnline, where the game starts.